his title. And apparently, I think his name used to be Peter. We've been talking about the prophecy related to, I think, the Malachi prophecy. We'll get with Bill Federer on that. We are recording this at 6:04 p.m. Central Time. We did our radio show today, Brandon House Live and Worldview Tube TV, from the Anti-Communist Museum, 2 blocks from the White House. We then were, of course, we're filming at the Lincoln Memorial today, the Jefferson Memorial. We were filming at the Anti-Communist Museum Memorial. Where else were we today? Oh, Logan. We went to the Ford's Theater today where Lincoln was shot. We also went across the street where he was taken to a boarding house. We went into the room where he died. We filmed the gun that was used to assassinate the president. We filmed some of his clothes. We even filmed the pillow. One of the many pillows, I guess, that was used that was stained with the president's blood. All of this will be put into a short format documentary we'll be bringing to you here on Worldview 2. We have so much content, folks. We have filmed in the 8-day trip that comes to an end Saturday morning. And we look forward to producing a lot of this and bringing it to you. Tamara Scott will sit in for me tonight on Brandon House Live because I did not have the time to produce Brandon House Live and interview guests because we are taking advantage fully of the opportunity to be here in the nation's capital, grab interviews, and film at historic sites. One more day of filming at historic sites tomorrow. We head back to the Mid-South. But we do want to break in with a special interview with Bill Federer. Bill, welcome to the broadcast, this breaking news story. Thank you for being here.
Hey, Brandon. Great to be with you.
Thank you. I'm looking at an article. I sent it over to you as well. This is from LifeSite News. 5 worrying things you need to know about Leo the 14th. Tell us your initial thoughts on this. And was his name formerly Peter, the first American Pope from Chicago? Is his name formerly Peter? And does that then fit in with the prophecy of, what is it, Malachi? Or what was the gentleman's name?
The name is Robert Prevost. Robert Prevost, and he is the first.
So he never had the name Peter then, okay?
Not to my knowledge. There were other ones with that name that were in the front running, but obviously they didn't get picked. From Chicago, actually had registered as a Republican, and there's evidence that he voted in a couple Republican elections. He did lead a pro-life group at one point. He then the Order of St. Augustine, but he went down to Peru, a missionary in Peru, for many years. He speaks probably 5 languages of French and Italian and Portuguese, and of course English. And he is not a promoter of the LGBTQ gender confusion concept. So that's good. A concerning thing is as he worked at the Vatican, he was part of a bishop's organization for the church, and he was a part of removing a Bishop Strickland from Texas, who was a very good pro-life bishop. And then there is the promotion of a leader, Bishop in McElroy in Washington, D.C., who was known for covering up Cardinal McCarrick's sexual problems. So that's a concern. He has tweeted some things that are not Trump-friendly. He is evidently for open borders, which is a typical view for many in his position. The Bible does talk about taking care of the poor and the immigrant, but if it's the church doing it, not the church taking money from government and then sneaking illegals into communities without the community knowing about it, and then signing those people up for welfare on the community, and then changing the dynamic so the property values of the community go down and crime increases and kids are getting raped and beat up. That's not what the Bible says. The Bible says the church wants to take them in. Part of the problem with taking in immigrants and getting billions of dollars from the government to do it is the fine print that says you cannot even proselytize them. So bringing in Muslim immigrants and not even trying to convert them to Catholicism or what. It does indicate that he may be in favor of the open borders. I don't know if that'll change. So he's not a strong promoter of the leftist agenda. He has a track record of, again, being pro-life and not a promoter of the gender agenda, although he may not hold the real conservative views that we were hoping for. So we'll see what happens.
So in other words, we might have a guy that is progressive, leans towards socialism, but may not be an outright Marxist, like I think the last pope was. So I guess time will tell, but initially that's kind of what you're describing. Sounds like we may ourselves a socialist, a progressive, but not a full-on Marxist. What are your thoughts?
Right. So he is somebody that's kept the cards close to his chest. So
right.
he's only been a cardinal since I think 2023. So relatively recent that Francis promoted him. He has followed Francis's agenda in demoting different conservative bishops and cardinals and then promoting other ones with a more progressive view. We don't know if that was him doing it or he was just obeying orders from Francis. But from what we see, he has been somebody that works together with the other cardinals, seems to have a non-radical agenda at this point. So that's good. Again, pro-life from everything that we gather, wanting to pretty much stay with traditional Catholic doctrine. He's not in favor of women priests, not in favor of changing up any of those traditions. Again, not a avid promoter of the trans agenda.
All right.
He's kept it
so it sounds like a guy again that's gonna be liberal in some areas, conservative in some. So maybe a pullback from the really Marxist, I think, Pope Francis, but not going to be a return to Pope John Paul II. Correct?
Yeah, I think you're describing it correctly. He did tweet some critical things about Trump and Vance. Vance gave a talk on how we should limit the immigration because there's actually a Latin term, ordo amoris, which means order of love, where this idea that you love your family, your wife and your kids first. The Bible says that that does not take care of his family is worse than an infidel. And then it's after you have your family in order that you can be in a position to love others. And of course, many ministers are familiar. If you spend your time loving everybody else and you don't love your family and your family falls apart, then you're not going to be loving anybody because you're going to be in depression. So there is this order that is biblical. And he had texted, when J.D. Vance said that, he texted that he disagreed. He says, we're supposed to love everybody, and which we are. But when it comes to your country, you want to protect your country. You don't want to just let your country fall apart. The Proverbs says that a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. So we're responsible to God to leave a country to our kids that's not falling apart. Anyway, long and short of it,
absolutely.
I think
let me jump in here on this
liberal.
Oh, that's good. I do note that LifeSite News, which I think it's a very conservative, pro-life website, correct? LifeSite News.
Right. I've actually met the person that runs it, and I'm a fan. I think he's a really good conservative website.
Yeah, he's a Catholic, correct?
Correct. Very pro-life, and he's not afraid to call out things that he sees wrong in leadership.
And the reason I mention that is I'm not quoting some anti-Catholic website. Just want my listening friends to understand. I'm quoting what is a very traditional family values, economic, morally conservative, patriotic Catholic website. Here's what they say about him: that he is notorious for being anti-Trump, as you've heard, that he has openly he has placed openly heterodox bishops in sees worldwide. The most notorious is Cardinal McElroy, who was installed as Archbishop of Washington despite being implicated in the cover-up of sexual abuse by ex-Cardinal McCarrick. During COVID, Prevost, that's the new Pope, Pope Leo now, imposed receiving communion on the hand and confession by telephone, which is both invalid and sacrilegious, writes LifeSite. He also reposted a call for the abortion-tainted COVID-19 vaccines to be, quote, available for all, end quote, and a USCCB post that called getting vaccinated, quote, an act of love, end quote. LifeSite says he's a strong supporter. He strongly supports Francis's radical agenda. Prevost supports synodality. You want to explain what that means in the Catholic terminology, Bill?
I think it means lay participate. I think it means lay participation. So you want to have the people involved in the church, which I think is a good thing. He also is in favor of Catholics who have been divorced to allow them back into the church and to allow them to have communion. So several of the stands, I think, are ones that, as far as, evangelical Christians go, would think that those are good things. But I don't think he's a champion for leftist causes. And there is, again, pro-life. There is the indication of traditional values with man and woman, but takes through your typical view on borders and getting vaxxed and shooting critical tweets at Trump. But Trump
won't it be interesting to watch?
Congratulated him.
He's already congratulated him. Yep. And by the way, just so the audience knows, there's a little delay while we're on the road going the interstate between Bill and I. So I'm sorry if I end up stepping on him or vice versa. It's only because we were both struggling with a delay. But President Trump, as Bill's saying on Thursday, congratulated him and said, quote, congratulations to Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost, who was just named Pope, end quote. Quote, it is such an honor to realize that he is the first American Pope. What excitement and what a great honor for our country, end quote. He wanted to say, quote, I look forward to meeting Pope Leo the 14th. It will be a very meaningful moment, end quote. That's what he added. It will be interesting, Bill, to watch this Pope Leo interact with President Trump and J.D. Vance, particularly because of his criticism of both of them and their policies. But I guess at some level, they're all politicians. I mean, to get elected, and he was elected, Leo, I guess you got to be a politician. So politicians are known for disagreeing, arguing, criticizing each other, and then playing nice for the cameras and smiling. So everybody should expect the normal political game to be played when and if we ever see them together, either Pope Leo and Vance or Pope Leo and President Trump, or all three together, correct?
Yeah, I mean, Trump is really known for tweeting mean things and other ones tweeting mean things back, but then Trump will have them in the White House and will shake their hand so there is that. We don't want to take his past behavior too critically. I say give him a chance, right. And he is 69 years old, so he's probably one of the youngest people chosen as Pope. Not the youngest. There's been in the Middle Ages lots of them that are a lot younger, but 69 is pretty young. So I think he'll probably be there for maybe the rest of most of our lives. So we'll see what happens. A lot of people have been praying. Again, there are 8 billion people in the world. 31% are Christian. And out of that, there's 1 billion plus Catholics. So it is the largest denomination in the world. There are about as many Catholics as there are Muslims. in the world. And so the fact that he is a leader, especially the non-Christians, view him as a representative of Christianity. So the world is looking to this. We are praying and we're believing that the Lord can take every situation and turn it around for good if we put it all in his hands. And so keep him in your prayers. I'll believe that God will use this for his glory.
And of course, when he strays from traditional Catholic doctrine, I'm not Catholic. I don't think you are any longer either, Bill. But when he strays from conservative Catholic doctrine, I think many Catholics will be calling him on the carpet the way they did Pope Francis. When he strays from biblical theology, as we read in the Bible, many of us will call him on the carpet in that regard as well. And that's really our mandate as Christians, isn't it, Bill?
Yeah, there's a general hope, a feeling of hope. We're definitely happy that there's not a radical. Some of the names put forward were very much in favor of the LGBT type agenda.
Wow.
We'll see what happens. I think that.
So, Bill, do you think that will he have a chance to start showing his full mission or goals as the Pope as quickly as, say, a president who can start signing executive orders? In other words, would it be, what are they called? He has things he can sign. What are they called? The words, as encyclicals? Encyclicals? Are there different things that, like a president has executive orders, which tell you kind of what he wants to do and accomplish?
Those are letters that are well thought out, and they've take a lot of time to put in because they realize that they're setting the direction for a long time in the future. I think it probably would be with personnel, the different people that he would begin to promote into, as soon as there's a vacancy with bishops or cardinals, to see who he picks to be a replacement. That would be a good indicator. But I think all in all, it's hopeful. And the fact that he, again, is from America.
So you think that in the next few weeks...
He was registered Republican, and he did lead a pro-life organization. I think we're all hopeful.
Well, we do hope for the best. So you think, though, in the next few weeks, we're going to be able to see from appointments and different things, it's going to become real clear if he's going to go down the middle of the road or swerve more toward the agenda of Pope Francis or take a more moderate socialist progressive stance, right?
Yeah, I think that my feeling is that he's going to try to bring together as many sides as he can. I don't think he's going to be a champion for the left like Francis was. Francis was many different leaders, from Father Frank Pavone to Bishop Strickland to the Archbishop Vigano. These are names of people that were on the wrong side of Francis's policies and got demoted. So I don't think he's going to do that. So we'll see. And again,
we'll see.
He is the leader of the largest Christian denomination, and we pray that he keeps the biblical truths at the forefront.
Yeah, well, we'll pray for that. We'll see what happens. Bill, as you can see, we're just coming out of downtown D.C. It's 6:23 Eastern Standard as we're filming this. We're headed back to Northern Virginia. We've been going into the nation's capital every day, and then from there, jumping around in a car, not the motor coach, but we make that our home base for coming back for equipment, coming back to grab lunch, use the bathroom, check on the dogs, again, pick up new equipment, go back out. So we've been using this parked at a strategic place, two strategic places there in the nation's capital, and then use regular car with a driver to get around. I think one day jumped into the car and out of the car at about 10 to 12 different stops in one day. We have been moving all over the nation's capital. Today we're at Ford's Theater. We recorded and filmed there. We went across the street to the boarding house where they took Abraham Lincoln after he was shot, where he died the next morning about 7:23 or so. We were at the Lincoln Memorial today. We were at the Jefferson Memorial filming and doing commentary and grabbing footage for short documentaries on all of these sites we'll be putting together over the next few weeks and months. I mean, we have so much content, folks. We've done a lot of filming at Arlington National Cemetery, the changing of the guard at the Tomb of the Known Soldier. I mean, I could go on and on. Bill, I know you and I have discussed it off the air, maybe once this week on the air. Why is it important that we're here not only grabbing great interviews with Marjorie Taylor Greene, Chip Roy, U.S. Senator Tommy Tuberville, U.S. Senator Ron Johnson, Congressman Glenn Grothman? Am I missing anybody else, Logan, that we interviewed? Why is it important to not only do those interviews, but why is it so important, which our main focus has been, to be honest, filming historical locations to produce these patriotic, historical, short-form documentaries that tell the truth about America? This is what you've committed your life to at AmericanMinute.com, folks. AmericanMinute.com. Why is it important that we're here filming and doing this?
Yeah, the memory of the nation. And I apologize. I'm at a hotel in Florida for a event. We just had Governor Ron DeSantis give us an address. Rick Green is here with Patriot Academy. David Barton is here with Wall Builders. Pastor Paul Blair is here
Jim
with Liberty
Paff.
Pastors. We have.
Do you see my buddy, my co-host Jim Paff? Have you seen Jim Paff?
I think so. Yeah. Jim and
My co-host
also,
Jim Paff. He's there.
Yeah, and representatives from Turning Point are here. Well, lots of great people. All. Is Rich Bott there? Rich Bott's here. Yeah, I said hi to Rich Bott with the Bott Radio Network. So lots
Say
of
hi
great
to Rich
people.
when you see him for me.
I will. And I'm holding the phone, so I have to switch from one side to the other because my hand's getting a little tired here. But
well, I won't keep you much longer. But go ahead and tell us why you think this is important. We've been doing this week.
Yeah, memory. One of my favorite quotes is from Arthur Schlesinger Jr., who's a Pulitzer Prize-winning historian on John F. Kennedy's staff. And the quote is, "History is to the nation what memory is to the individual." So have you ever met an individual who has lost their memory? Maybe they have Alzheimer's. It's really sad. They forgot who they are. They forgot who you are. You can take anything away from them. We sort of have national Alzheimer's. Here we are, the freest country the planet Earth has ever seen, and we forgot who we are. We forgot how we got here. And when you tell the history stories, you're sort of giving the country its memory back. And they're like, oh, that's what America's all about. We get to be king with a little k over our life, and all of us are king with a little k over the country, and Jesus is the King of Kings. And Psalms 110, that thy people shall be willing in the day of thy power. So we have a voluntary opportunity of surrendering our lives to Jesus, the King of Kings. But it's interesting, our founders looked to the pre-King Saul part of the Bible. It's the Hebrew Republic, where there was no king, and it's a bottom-up form of government. And the kings of Europe looked to the King Saul and on part of the Bible, which is top-down. So America's founders didn't want to set up a theocracy. They wanted to set up where you have freedom of conscience. So your response to God could be a voluntary loved one. And anyway, it's important for us to remember the milestones all throughout the Bible. God talks about memorials. When, Joshua crossed the Jordan River, he set up a pile of rocks as a memorial so that they could remember. Passover is a memorial so we can remember. We need to remember and pass that on to the next generation so that Ronald Reagan says we're one generation away from extinction, that freedom doesn't pass in the bloodline, that it has to be fought for and taught every generation anew. And so this is our job. And we have been entrusted with the freest and most prosperous nation that the planet has ever seen. Look at the rest of the world. What is it? And they're all top down. China, North Korea, Iran, Russia. And it's a hierarchical system. If you're friends with the guy on top, the insiders, the deep state, then you're better off. If you're not their friend, you're down the ladder. And if you're their enemy, you just disappear. It's all a gang structure. And in America, our founders intended it to be a bottom-up, a flip, a polarity change, where we get to be in charge of our lives. We've been negligent, and we've been letting those freedoms slip away. But I think as you share the history and go through these places and remind people, then we can fight to keep these freedoms for our children and grandchildren.
Amen to that. And that's what Bill's been doing for many, many decades and we've been working together about 30 years, Bill and I have. AmericanMinute.org, AmericanMinute.org. I think that's AmericanMinute.com, correct, Bill?
Yeah,
AmericanMinute.com. AmericanMinute.com. All right, Bill, have a great time down there in Florida at CMP. Greet everybody that we mentioned, and thank you for interrupting your conference to film this breaking update on the first American Pope ever picked, now known as Pope Leo XIV. Thank you, Bill.
All right, God bless, and blessings to all the viewers.
Thank you, Bill. All right, folks, now we are, again, here we are on what is May 8th. We're at 6:29 Eastern Standard Time, headed back to Northern Virginia. We'll be back in D.C. for one more day tomorrow, and then tomorrow evening we head back to the Mid-South and get ourselves on a regular schedule, everything back to the normal programming schedule of the Worldview Report and everything for Monday. So pray for safe return, for safe travels, the remaining few days, great weather. We've been blessed with the weather this week. We really have. We have dodged a few storms, some torrential downstorms. But thankfully, when those came, we were inside, either in the motor coach or in a building. And we've been able to do a lot of filming outside. And so one more day, and then we'll be bringing a lot of footage you have not seen back home, post-editing, and putting out lots and lots of short format documentaries to bring to you as we kind of turn and try to move toward having a lot of patriotic, historical, educational programming, particularly on the weekends. Okay, so this is something we want to do more of, not less of, more of. Kind of your Christian worldview alternative to the History Channel with great history, Christian worldview information. All right, will you support what we're doing? We're putting it all out there for free. Everything we've done, everything we've filmed, we're going to push it out for everybody to watch. We could say, yeah, you know what? I think we're going to take all this 8 days of footage and only put it behind the paywall. No, we're going to put it out for everybody to watch for free. So if you appreciate the fact that we're doing that so that you can say, hey, I want my grandchild to see this. Maybe you want your grown children to see it, your great grandkids. You're going to be able to do that and help us educate them about America's real history and heritage and what has made America great. One of the things we noticed at the Anti-Communist Museum today in downtown D.C., 2 blocks from the White House, common theme, whether it was what was going on in the Vietnam War with North Korea against South Korea, whether it was what was going on in Russia with Stalin, Lenin, Stalin, all of that, whether it was what was going on in Hungary, all these other North Korea, the common theme has been what? Tyranny, destroying free speech, taking out people that are speaking truth, destroying traditional culture, destroy the culture, destroy the societal institutions, particularly family and church. Family and church. And today we learned so much about, at the Anti-Communist Museum, about the number of people of faith, and particularly faith leaders, who were standing up for morality, what is right, what is wrong, the laws of nature, nature's God, that were persecuted, imprisoned, murdered. The destroying of statues, the burning of books, so that it could burn it down and rebuild a new culture based on what the tyrannical leaders, the dictators, wanted. Sound familiar? That's what they tried to do in America, I think, under Obama, then under Biden, and Harris would have continued it. We have a small little window here, folks, a small little window to take advantage of, trying to educate more people to understand truth and to value our American values that have made us the freest nation in the world and the longest running constitutional republic in the world. So it's very important. Will you support us? WorldviewFoundation.com, WorldviewFoundation.com. It's really important we have your support. WorldviewFoundation.com. You know what else you can do? You can go there and find our mailing address if you prefer to support us through the mail. If you prefer to support us through the mail, WorldviewFoundation.com. You'll find our mailing address there. If you prefer to make a contribution over the phone, you'll find our phone number there. You can leave a voicemail for Melissa. You can text her. She'll get back to you and take your contribution over the phone. If you make a contribution, we'll send you a tax receipt with our EIN number by the first week of February 2026. You know what else we're already planning? We're already planning the summer of 2026, our 250th anniversary. We're already talking to cameramen in DC that we can hire. We're already working on how we're going to cover this big 250th celebration of our anniversary as a nation. So, folks, we're so busy doing things behind the scenes that yet you don't even know about. You know what else? We have someone right now that's undercover investigating some of these mosques in America. Someone that we have tapped to help us with an investigation into some of these mosques. Can't tell you any more than that, but there's an investigation underway. We'll let you know more soon. We have many things we're doing that we can't tell you about now, but we will soon. And we're also have some things we can't tell you about because we don't know what we're doing, but we know we're starting to plan things like covering the 250th anniversary of America. So we need your support. We're only limited by our budgets, really. We're only limited by our budgets. If you say, I really like what they're doing at Worldview Tube, I really like it. Can you imagine how much more we could do if we had the funding of some of these other networks? But we don't get government funding. We don't get government funding. We don't get funding by some gigantic, philanthropic organization. We're just a listener-supported network. WorldviewFoundation.com, WorldviewFoundation.com. Another way you can support us is by going to WorldviewTube.com/sponsors. WorldviewTube.com/sponsors. Bella Grace. I have Bella Grace right here. We brought it on the trip with us, folks. It's right here in a big box. There's our Bella Grace. Where's our Numi, Melissa? Where? On the way in the back? Our Numi? Right by my hand, my Numi. Why am I so blind? Oh, there's my Gatatana. There's my Gatatana. Oh, the Numi's up top. All right. So we brought the Numi, which is up top. I can grab it. Hold on. There it is, just to prove it. We travel with all this stuff because we take it each and every day. The Numi, the Gatatana, and the Bella Grace. Go to worldviewtube.com/sponsors, worldviewtube.com/sponsors. Use these great products or any of the other ones there and help us while you help your health, I think, as well. Okay? Between our foundation, our sponsors, you can support the network and we can get a lot done. All right. Breaking news. The new Pope, Pope Leo the 14th from America. And we're here on the road. One more day left. Tamara Scott be sitting in tonight for Brandon House Live. Thank you for doing that, Tamara. We look forward to reporting to you again very soon. We'll do another report likely from the motor coach tomorrow evening on our way out of town. All right? Till next time at Brandon House. May God save America. Take care.